lunch. Nom, 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 nom.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the Sac City Podcast. We are back and better than ever. I am your host, the one and only Vinny Milani, joined as always by my best friend in the whole entire world. He is Aaron, the Mukesiah Mukes. It is a beautiful November 11th Tuesday here in the city. We're back. The Sac is back, baby. I know it might sound a lot weird to a lot of people. All week I was kind of hyping up that the Sac is back, and they were like, "Wait a second, what do you mean? That doesn't make any sense." But once you're in the city, you know what it means to be back like we are right now. Aaron, how goes it?
This is fun, man. This is exciting. It's been a long time coming. We have talked about it. We've put it off. We've revisited, and now we're here. And I couldn't be more excited to take care of this business that we have to handle. Just to be able to talk ball again with you, and a little bit different than we did last time. And we're in different places in our lives, different spots in this space. And I don't think there's a better time than the present.
Yeah, I was literally my wife just told me as we were starting things up, she's like, "You don't live in Jacksonville anymore. And Aaron doesn't live in Sacramento anymore. Like, you guys have to get a new intro." And I'm like, "No, that's our homes. That's where we represent. That's still where we represent." I don't know if Norwalk, Connecticut has the same ring as Jacksonville, Florida does. And I'm not sure, no offense to you and everyone in Albany, but I'm not sure Albany has the same power as Sacramento does.
No.
But it's the same. It's the same.
916 is always right here.
That's how I feel about the 904. That's how I always feel. Alicia is trying to get away from it. I'm like, no, it's still our home. But as for everyone watching and tuning in, we're back. We're still the same squad. I mean, this is you're still going to get the same type of level of content that we always love to produce. Today's show, we're going to break down some things that we saw in week 10. We'll look ahead to week 12 or week 11. Jesus, math still not my strong suit. We'll talk a little week 11 previews, and we'll talk to the fans once they start filing in. It is almost 11 o'clock in the morning. Most people are at work, so we're going to see how this goes.
We might not get any fans, but it's okay.
We might not get a single live viewer, and that's okay, because you know what? You can watch it on YouTube at any time. That's the best part about
what
YouTube.
We're here for anyways.
No, definitely not. But what we are here for is talk a little bit about some ball talk. Yeah. Let's bring this back.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? And I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Not so morning headlines.
You still have all these things? Wait. The fact that you still have all these videos and you didn't get rid of anything is in typical Vinny Milani, the one and only Vinny Milani fashion.
I knew in my heart of hearts that I had to keep all this stuff, and I still have the folders, I still have the Photoshop files, I still have videos. It is, yeah. And what the funny thing is this computer that I do this on really has turned into my wife's computer. So like she has all of her stuff. Like really it's now like 80-20 her stuff versus my stuff, but there is that little pocket of Sac City content that I can use, that I can go back to. But yeah, let's talk some ball. Let's talk week 10. Lots of fun stuff happened in week 10. We can't start talking about anything that happened this past week without talking about what Jonathan Taylor was able to do on the ground in Berlin against the Atlanta Falcons, as the Colts were able to kind of knock off your Atlanta Falcons. It was a close game. It was a fun game. What did you...
Wait. My Atlanta Falcons? Whoa. I mean, I do root for them, but calm down with my Atlanta Falcons. I'm not claiming the Atlanta Falcons. I just like to see them win, because when they get to do cool stuff, it means I get to do cool stuff.
You gotta have some type of it's still your. I guess it's not. All right. Now we have the new era. So if we have new people watching, we're like, oh, he's a Falcons fan. They're already going to associate you with the Falcons, but that's not true. You'll find out who is his team and who he represents. Maybe on one of these episodes. Not today, but I don't think. Well, we're ever going to talk about my team. So No need to at all. But Jonathan Taylor rushed for the second most rush yards in Indianapolis Colts history behind himself. Dominated the Atlanta Falcons. It was a very close game. Came down to the wire. Came down to overtime, where the Colts were able to end up on top. Colts looking really good. But what Jonathan Taylor is doing in Indianapolis and in the NFL, like he's been incredible this year. He is the first player in NFL history with 15 plus rush touchdowns and 6 yards per carry in his first 10 games ever. He has been phenomenal for the Colts, but somehow he is still third in the odds to win the MVP. We know there is the quarterback bias, but Aaron, what do you think about the MVP landscape and where Jonathan Taylor should fit in?
This might surprise some people, but I actually think he's right where he should be. I'll be honest. I'm not a subscriber to the running back can be an MVP anymore. I just don't believe that's the case. What he's doing is obviously phenomenal. We haven't seen it before. He's the prototypical running back. When you design it, I don't think people give him enough credit, but that's who he is. He's big, he's physical, he has the breakaway speed, he can catch the ball to the backfield, he finds the end zone, he pass protects, he can stay on the field for all 3 downs. He literally is a prototypical running back that could have been playing in the years that we saw, like the 90s and early 2000s. The problem is that's not the league that we play in anymore. This is the NFL of 2025. And if you are not a quarterback, then you are not an MVP. And it's just as simple as that to me. I have no problem with him being in the race. I have no problem with people talking about him as he's one of the MVPs. But we all know what drives most valuable player, and that's the quarterback position. Because remember, Jonathan Taylor's had great seasons before. Jonathan Taylor was on the team last year. Jonathan Taylor's been on the Colts for a few years now. You want to know who hasn't been on the Colts for a few years, and that's Daniel Jones. And I'm not saying Daniel Jones to be on a team that has a lot of other good pieces, that you plug in a quarterback that does his job and they have a chance to win. And we've seen over the last 2 weeks, the Colts probably the 2 worst performances from Daniel Jones have resulted in a loss and has resulted in a game they probably should have lost against Atlanta if the defense doesn't give up that late field goal to the Colts. And Daniel Jones got him in position to do that. So I still think at the end of the day, it's a quarterback award, but Jonathan Taylor deserves to be in the conversation.
So you're buying into this, like the quarterback narrative, because like, I mean, there's people talking about Jonathan Taylor, and it's like, okay, there is the quarterback bias towards the award, but what's reality? Is he the MVP in this game, in this season? It should, like, put it aside, positions aside, impact on teams.
It's not a bias. It's not a bias. It's a fact. The fact is, when we talk best players, is he offensive player of the year? Chalk it up. It's his. When you talk about value, I will always be the subscriber to how you value. Are you valuable to your team? And yes, Jonathan Taylor is valuable to his team, but he is not the most valuable player. If Jonathan Taylor was not on the Colts right now, and you plugged him in with who's the I don't want to say average running back, but an average
Amari DiMarcado.
No, but he's not average. He's a third string running back. That's
Alvin
not
Kamara.
picking an average running back. You pick him with another. You put Alvin Kamara on the Colts. Are they still a good team? Yeah, they're still going to win games. They're still going to be a good enough team. They're still probably leading that division. So that's what you have to show your value to me. And it just so happens that in today's NFL, value comes from the quarterback position. Maybe they need to rename the award to the quarterback award. I don't care. That doesn't really bother me, because that is where the value comes from. You cannot, and I've said this over the last 5 years, you cannot be a most valuable player anymore if you are not a quarterback. And I truly believe that. I don't care if you're doing what Jonathan Taylor's doing or Jackson Smith and Jigba. None of those guys are as valuable as a quarterback. If you take some of the quarterbacks off these teams, they would go from Super Bowl contenders to not even making the playoffs.
Yeah, the value is the drop off in terms of value there. It is pretty huge. Like, as if you take Daniel Jones off of the Colts this year and you put in Anthony Richardson, you're probably not where you are today. You're probably not 8-2. You're probably maybe 5-5 because of the Jonathan Taylor games. But if you take Jonathan Taylor off this team and you put like an Alvin Kamara there, you're maybe 7-3. You're maybe 6 and like it's the drop. There is the gap there between what the quarterback does on the field for a team versus what a running back can do. The other question I have when it comes to this is when you talk about teams and the MVP race, where do you stand on, like, is it just as simple as the quarterback gets the most of the credit because it's the most valuable position, or because there's teams out there like you just mentioned, the Seattle Seahawks, Sam Darnold 6th in the MVP race right now, whereas Jackson Smith and Jigba way down the list. How do you feel about teams having two MVP caliber players on the same team?
Well, I think the problem with positions like receiver and running back, even at times, is you're dependent on other things being in place. Like most receivers are not putting up the numbers that Jackson Smith and Jigba's putting up, and the quarterback not producing. Does that make sense? So Sam Darnold's having a great year. Yeah, maybe it's because he has Jackson to throw to, but he had Justin Jefferson last year and went 14-2 with the Vikings. So he's proven to be able to put up numbers outside of Jackson Smith and Jigba as well. So does that credit go to him now, or are we looking at Jackson as being the reason why Sam Darnold's producing? So I think I'm okay with people being in the discussion that are having really good years. I don't have a problem with that. I think it's fair to put Jackson Smith and Jigba up there, to put Jonathan Taylor up there, to put those guys up there. At the end of the day, the value comes from the position that touches the ball every play and impacts the game the most. And unfortunately, in today's NFL, I'm not a huge fan of it, but that's the quarterback position. Even when we talk about running games, the quarterback matters, because are you scheming more for the quarterback or are you scheming more for the running back? If I'm putting 8 guys in the box, most running games aren't going to be successful. Why can't I put 8 guys in the box? Because I have good guys on the outside or a good quarterback that's going to dissect that defense. So it's just one of those things. It's probably an outdated award, or at least the narrative around the award needs to just change and say, hey, look, the most valuable player probably isn't the person that's performed the best this year. It's probably the best quarterback of the season. And that just, if we approach that narrative with that's what it is, then it's okay to say, you know what, the best player this year has been Jonathan Taylor, and he's going to win Offensive Player of the Year, and that's okay.
Last thing on this, is there, so you brought up the fact that you don't care if they rename this the a quarterback award. What, if anything, what can Jonathan Taylor do? What does Jonathan Taylor have to do to be able to take this one? Because right now he's on pace for over 2,000 yards. He's going to have over 20 touchdowns. He's on pace for a historical season in the NFL. And we're probably still at the end of the season. Yeah, at the end of the season, we're still going to end up talking about Jonathan Taylor being second or third in the MVP race. And there's going to be all the outrage of Jonathan Taylor's the real MVP. Look at his stats. What is there anything that Jonathan Taylor can do to move up to the top spot in the MVP race, rather than it just being, it's the quarterback award, he's not going to win, he's not as valuable?
At the end of the day, it's all subjective, right? So last year, a lot of people thought Lamar Jackson was the MVP. Josh Allen ends up winning it. The last time a running back won the National Football League's MVP was 2012. That was Adrian Peterson. He did go for over 2,000 yards. He almost went for 2,100 yards. He only had 12 touchdowns on the ground, which Jonathan Taylor is going to blow out of the water, obviously. He's already got 15.
Already passed it.
But understand that performance is what I'm saying. Like Adrian Peterson, that performance, he's already well on pace to destroy that, and he's third in the voting. So it tells you where the league is at from a voting perspective. And I get it. These are just writers and former players and analysts that are voting for most valuable player. But it's an understanding of what the game has turned to. The game is very aware of what the quarterback position means. It's hard to argue with it. If he goes for 2,300 rush yards, 25, 26 touchdowns, I think there's a real debate. I think then you say, you know what, it's hard not to give it to him. And it's within reach. I'm not saying it's not within reach. But as the season wanes, you start to play some of those games in late December. He's got to stay healthy. All it takes is one bad game. Just look at the MVP races we've seen over the years. Yeah. Kyler Murray's the MVP up to week 9, and then he's nowhere to be seen. Russell Wilson, MVP up to week 10, nowhere to be seen. This year, Let's see who's been in the conversation. Dak Prescott, Baker Mayfield, like all these guys that have already been talked about and now aren't even in the top 5 anymore. It's guys like Stafford, who is, I believe, still under the radar. Right now, he's my MVP. Like guys like that are now emerging. But then all it takes is 2 bad games from Stafford, and it'll be somebody else. So Jonathan Taylor goes out. He had a bad game last week. He had a good game this week, great game. If he goes out and has 2 bad games in a row, then it's going to cool that MVP talk again. So we saw Saquon Barkley get close to it last year, couldn't do it. Christian McCaffrey a couple years ago didn't get it done. I think at the end of the day, it's hard for a running back to get MVP, and I don't think that's going to change this year.
Yeah, you bring up Stafford, and just one note there, like Stafford has 20 touchdowns and 0 interceptions in his last 6 games. Like that's like, it's not even necessarily for Stafford's standpoint, someone coming in and like having a few like 2 good games and like then he's getting in there. Stafford has consistently been like,
he's been good all year. He leads in every passing category there is. Like, I mean, he's literally the front runner around. He's 25 touchdowns and 2 picks.
So but then that goes into the question, and I don't mean to continue. We have to move on. I don't mean to continue this MVP talk, but for Stafford's case, he's right now he's on FanDuel. He is tied with Drake May to win the MVP. Like they're both their odds plus 300 for both of them. In Stafford's case, it kind of goes back to what I was talking about with Jonathan Taylor, where the Colts, they have 2 MVP candidates. Stafford, he's throwing to guys like Puka. He's throwing to guys like Devontae Adams. He's got Kyron Williams in the backfield. He's got Sean McVay as the head coach. All these factors, do you think that should take away from Matthew Stafford, or should Matthew Stafford be getting more credit than he deserves?
When Matthew Stafford doesn't play and those players are playing, how do the Rams fare? It says it all.
Yeah,
it says it all. Like when Stafford was out last year, they weren't good. When Stafford misses time, they're not as good of an offense. And yes, Sean McVay's a great play caller, and Devontae and Puka are great receivers. But Puka's missed time. Devontae's had some down games. Kyron Williams was average to start the year, and they're still the consistent has been Matt Stafford. So yes, some of it is just the eyeball test and seeing what they're doing. But we all know that you put Jimmy Garoppolo under center, is this Rams team the Rams that are playing right now? And they're not. It's just as simple as that.
No. Yeah, they're not. That's where I wanted to kind of that. I think Matthew Stafford should be getting a lot more credit than he deserves. We'll talk about the other MVP candidate in a little bit in terms of Drake May. But let's go to a different game. Big news dropped yesterday. The New York Giants fired head coach Brian Daboll after blowing a 20-10 lead to the Chicago Bears. Another blown lead, I should say, for the Giants, another loss. And another game where we see Jackson Dart get hurt, go out, concussion. A lot of red flags going there are being thrown up there when it comes to how he has handled Jackson Dart, and that could have played into the reason why he was fired. Before we get into that game and we talk about the Bears, what were your thoughts on the Giants moving on from Brian Daboll?
It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And if you were going to make this move, this should have been a move before in the offseason. I just don't understand why teams continue to let a coach go out and get his guy, get all the excitement built up about their guy, bring him in, and then you get rid of him before. And when you see good things happening, and yes, have the Giants struggled? Absolutely. Did they blow another lead? Sure. Do you want to maybe make some changes? Why not? Your head coach and your quarterback are tied at the hip. They are. Jackson Dart was Brian Daboll's guy. It was supposed to be the second coming of Josh Allen, and they didn't give him time to see if even that would come to fruition. Your defense gave up a 20-10 lead. Sure, that could be on the head coach as well, but the Giants aren't making the playoffs this year. The Giants are not. I mean, they have one of the hardest schedules in the NFL. They are not going anywhere. So why are you going to make this move midseason? Why not let it play out? Let Jackson Dart continue to develop. And then in the offseason, reassess where your team is. If you want to go get a defensive guy as a new coordinator or something, whatever. But to now have Jackson Dart have to finish this season with somebody else in his ear, and then in the offseason learning a brand new playbook again, he's going to be a rookie all over again next year. All over. We've seen this so many times with teams that will not allow their quarterback and their head coach to develop together. I'm not a huge Brian Dable guy, but the man knows offense, and he knows how to develop quarterbacks, and they did not give him a chance to develop Jackson Dart. If they wanted to make this move, they should have made it before the draft, and they should have let whoever's going to be the head coach come in and pick their guy. You have got to be in unison. Look at the NFL. Look who wins games, and if you're not in lockstep with your coach and your quarterback, you're going to have a hard time winning in this league. And unfortunately, the Giants blow it again. Let Saquon go, and now fire your coach after they seemingly found their franchise quarterback.
Does Daboll go back to being an offensive coordinator somewhere and just blow it up, just be really good?
I don't see a head coaching position like right off the bat. So I do think it would have to be somewhere as an OC again, maybe around the way he'll come and get another opportunity. But I don't know that there's definitely no openings right now, and we'll see what happens at the end of the year. But I don't know that there's a head coaching job waiting for him in 2026.
Maybe in college. I feel like he's like that perfect college. Like he could go to college and tear it up. I'm not saying at like one of the big schools like LSU or the Penn State opening, but like maybe like in Auburn. Maybe he goes to Auburn. I don't know. We'll come back to this if that happens. But
some NFL guys don't like that. Some NFL guys don't like college, don't like the college landscape. But it has changed. It has changed.
It's getting harder. Like I feel like it's got to be so hard to be able to make the jump to college for anybody. Like being a college head coach at a major Power 4 school, like you are dealing with a lot of stuff to recruiting, NIL. It's all there. Like this is why Bill Belichick is struggling in his first year, but I would like to see him have a little bit more time. As for Jackson Dart and the Brian Dable thing, I can only selfishly compare this to the handling of Trevor Lawrence and in Jacksonville, and really not even from the draft year, but right now where you're seeing Liam Cohen and the Jaguars trying to make it work with Trevor Lawrence. It's not his guy. And it gets harder and harder when you bring in new coaches to try and get someone to be okay with this guy. And if it just doesn't work, it doesn't blend, you're going to go through coach after coach after coach, and then you just have a problem, and then you've already ruined a quarterback, and then you end up getting rid of him, and he ends up being like Daniel Jones or Sam Darnold, and they end up producing somewhere else. And you're like, oh, man, well, why wasn't he doing that here? Well, it's not necessarily always about the quarterback's talent. It's about the system around him and what you're bringing him into, and bringing in someone from the jump with a coach quarterback relationship from the start. It normally works out a lot better than it does if you have a coach and a quarterback who are not on the same page that you bring in later on. It's not a good combination. It's not a good combination.
I was just going to say, at the end of the day, Trevor, like you mentioned, Trevor Lawrence, that'll be the guy that's in 5 years from now, you'll look at him and be like, oh, that's Baker Mayfield. That's Geno Smith. That's Sam Darnold. Why couldn't he have success in Jacksonville? It's because of the turbulent front office moves that continue to happen. And those franchises, look where they all come from. They're the same notorious franchises: Cleveland, Jacksonville, New York Jets. Like it's always those franchises that do that because they're not patient enough that they feel this pressure to win, and they don't know how to build. And unfortunately, it's a reoccurring cycle in the NFL, and it doesn't seem to be changing.
You said that wrong. Unfortunately, it's one of my teams, the Jacksonville Jaguars, that, at the beginning of the show, we were like, oh, you'll find out who our team, and we might never talk about my team, and surprise, we're talking about my team here. And yeah,
hey, they're still playing. I mean, let's be honest. They're still playing fairly decent. They blew the game yesterday, yes, to a Davis Mills or on Sunday, but give Jacksonville some slack. They've played pretty decent this year, and the defense has gotten a lot better.
What does that mean? I don't want to get into a Jaguars tangent, but that means nothing.
Because you're a fan, you don't even get to count.
No,
you don't even.
No, it is not. I don't want to get into
because you're Jaguars. A fan. We always do this, and you're always wrong. It's okay.
It feels great to be 5-4 with a new coach, new system, all that. It feels great to be 5-4, but you can't just look at it on the surface and say, okay, 5-4 team, let's have a parade. I
didn't say that.
This team stinks.
No,
the Jacksonville Jaguars stink.
Let's move on, because
you're going to annoy me. They have one of the worst. No.
You're gonna annoy me. That you can't go. It's great to be 5-4. It's all this. It's okay. It's decent, and then say they stink in the same breath. You're either good, bad, or you're somewhere in between. And guess what? Jacksonville's somewhere in between. Have they had bad moments? Absolutely. Have they had great moments? Yes, because you're the same fan, and I don't want to say you, but those are the same fans that when they beat Kansas City and showed up on Monday night, we're back. We're the best. So it just stop. It's like typical NFL. It's week to week. They are probably an above average football team that needs to learn how to win, and they're still learning how to win. Simple as that.
When you look at it that way, sure. But when you look at it deeper, the team is not great. The team is not
deeper.
They have one of the worst secondaries in the league. Their offensive line. I'm not getting into this. We're not doing this.
You can pull the numbers all you want. That doesn't. We've done this. Numbers every year change. Culture and that in the building has not changed, which is why Jacksonville has struggled. The culture went from bad culture to we don't know what kind of culture we have to where are we right now? Like they don't have an identity as an organization, and that's the problem. It's not about your secondary being bad. It's not about we're going to trade Campbell, we're going to go get Greg Newsome, and we're going to try to make it better. Like
what a dumb trade. What a stupid trade.
You guys just put up 30 points against the Houston Texans without Brian Thomas, without Travis Hunter. Like you guys were decimated offensively, and you still put up 30 points. And yeah, you gave up the lead and you blew a big 4-time. But that's the NFL. Those things happen. We've seen that over and over again. Not just from Jacksonville.
No, we don't see that. Blowing a 19-point lead in the fourth quarter, we don't see. That's the thing.
Denver just did it to the Giants a few weeks ago.
But that's the thing.
It doesn't happen a couple of weeks ago.
It doesn't happen often to where that is the norm.
I didn't say it happens often. I said it happens in the NFL. That's part of the game. It happens. It just happened to your team. You're always so emotional.
I can't wait for 2 years from now when we're able to get rid of Trevor Lawrence. Hopefully Liam Cohen and James Gladstone still have a job.
You mean the franchise, the life-changing quarterback that you guys are supposed to have?
Yeah. I remember being on this show, and when we drafted him, we were so excited. Remember Kwity Paye?
I do remember. Hey, now you're thinking you should have took Kwity Paye instead?
Maybe we should have taken Kwity Paye. I mean, there's goodness.
We were on it. Hey, we were on it before anybody. We were on it.
We were, and Dylan freaking out over it. That's just Dylan freaking out over Trevor Lawrence every week now. All right, let's get back. We'll get back on track. That's the Sac City the way here. Let's get back on track. Giants, Bears. Talk about Dayball getting fired. How that impacts Jackson Dart. On the flip side of that, there is a team that came back from down 20-10, and they're not to say that there were a lot of question marks about Caleb Williams, but we've been kind of just waiting to see him really grab the moment of being the franchise quarterback for the Chicago Bears. Where do you stand on Caleb Williams and his progression with Chicago now that he has Ben Johnson and the team is now 6-3? They're one of their best 9-game starts since 2018. Like, this is a good Bears team. Where are we at with Caleb Williams?
I would argue, I'm not going to argue too heavy about it, but I would argue that there were questions about Caleb Williams, especially in the Bears fan circles. Listening to a lot of Bears fans, they were always kind of back and forth, like, is he really doing enough to show that he's a franchise quarterback? And this is why, I preach patience. I'm always the guy that's like, hey, man, give him time, let him figure it out. The one thing I will say about the Chicago Bears, I think they got their quarterback and I think they got their head coach. And like I just talked about with Jackson Dart and Brian Daboll, when you have that marriage that works together, I think it's a beautiful thing. And has it looked pretty every week? No. But when you look at what Caleb has done in moments in games, that's why he was the number one pick. It's because of his ability to show up in big moments, and he's done that time and time again. They've been trailing in games, and in the fourth quarter, they've been able to turn it on. And we saw even last year them choke and lose games because of those certain moments. And I think that speaks to a lot of just having a new head coach and his. I don't want to say it's like the Lion way, but he comes from the Detroit way of like, we're just going to let it all out. We're going to play our style of football. And Ben Johnson's done a really good job. And I think he's allowed Caleb to be Caleb. and I think that's done well for Caleb this year. I am sold on the Chicago Bears just as an organization as a whole and what they're trying to do. This is not, to me, the same Bears that we've seen over the past 5-10 years. I think this is a different level, a different culture that's been instilled in them, and I think it's trending in the right direction. Do I think they're the best team in the division? No. Do I think they're top? They might be still the worst team in the division. I'm be honest with you. They still could be. I question Minnesota just because of JJ McCarthy and that quarterback situation. I really like the rest of their personnel. So there still is a debate: is Chicago a playoff team? But I have to say, so far this season, you have to like the way it's trending, and I do think that Chicago is going in the right direction.
Yeah, they've faced a lot of adversity. I mean, they are 3-1 in their last 4 games when trailing at halftime. They're 6-1 in their last 7 games after starting 0-2. I mean, this team has battled through adversity, and that is obviously, we just talked about it with the Jaguars a little bit, the culture that like a Ben Johnson is coming in and instilling in this team. When we talk about Caleb Williams, he's the one leading the charge, and you want that guy at the helm being able to kind of rally your team. He had the game-winning 17-yard touchdown there to cap off the game. Like, that is what you want to see from your quarterback, putting it in his own hands, taking control, making it happen when your team needs it the most. What are you seeing from a football perspective? What are you seeing from Caleb Williams that may be different now than what it was? Obviously, it was some trying times last year for him with the system. What are you seeing now specifically from Caleb Williams that is making him seem like, okay, he's got it figured out?
I'm gonna be honest. I don't think it's too much different. I think Caleb is just more comfortable with being who he is under Ben Johnson. And I think this speaks to more about Ben Johnson than it does Caleb Williams. Ben Johnson is allowing Caleb to do Caleb things, run around, make plays. That's what he wants to do. They talked about him as the Patrick Mahomes type, kind of a freelancer on the football field. But when you try to restrict that as a quarterback, he started trying to do too much. And he wasn't really going through his progressions. And his progressions are like, look to his number one read, scramble around, and let's play the scramble drill. But that's what he's good at. And so you have to allow him to be him. If you look at the numbers, you really wouldn't know the difference from this year and last year. You really wouldn't. Last year, he only threw 6 picks. He had 20 touchdowns. This year, he's on pace to have a little bit more than that. But you got to understand, he also plays in Chicago. It's going to look ugly. They play in bad weather stadiums. A lot of the year, they play in Green Bay. They play in Chicago. There's going to be a lot of games that are like what we saw yesterday with the Giants. And you have to understand that as a Bears quarterback, you're not going to get the Matthew Stafford numbers. You're just not. You're never going to get the 5,000-yard passer, the 45 touchdowns, because of the style of football that comes with playing in the NFC North. And so I think he's the same player. I think the offense is different. They're putting him in good situations, and they're allowing him to be him. And I think that's the biggest difference, is what Ben Johnson has instilled in him is the confidence to just go out and play Caleb football. And if you mess up, so be it. But we're going to continue to grind. He's obviously played better than he played last year, but a lot of that, I think, is more mental than anything, saying, like, I can just go be me.
It's the game changer when you have a coach that can really give you that confidence and that trust to go out and just kind of play your game.
And his completion percentage is worse than last year. Like, his completion percentage is worse than last year, but there are areas that are pivotal in the game that he's better than. So I think it just, all of it put together, he's just more comfortable. And it was his rookie year.
Yeah, that's true. And they're finding ways to win. The Bears are, to be where they're at now in that division, it's a tough division. And I kind of want to talk about that a little more as we go inside the matchup. Oh my God, I forgot how good that drop was.
Hey, man. It's so nostalgic. And of course, as you play that, who in the heck is in the chat?
Do we have someone in the chat? Hold on.
We do. Yay.
Oh,
I got a Duval. I got Bailey. I knew Bailey would eventually show up.
I was waiting for everyone to pop in. I was waiting. This is good. I'm glad we have people in the chat. We always welcome everyone in the chat. We were just talking about, if you guys are just joining us, we were just talking about Week 10 storylines. I know there's been a lot of chatter, a lot of hot topics. Caleb Williams, Jonathan Taylor, MVP. But let's talk about Week 11. There's a lot of big matchups Week 11, especially in the NFC. We got Seahawks, Rams. We got Eagles, Lions. Those are the top dogs in the NFC right now. Really, Seattle and Detroit, or Seattle and LA playing each other this week. 7-2 teams. Winner really locks down, holds down that second seed. And we talk about all the time. We saw it last year when we were talking about the NFC North, where these teams, there were multiple teams from the NFC North trying to battle for that top spot, and then everyone else sliding in those wild card spots. This game, I feel like we're going to end up talking about at the end of the season, where we're talking about seeding and positioning in that in the race. Seattle, Detroit, Seattle and Los Angeles, Philadelphia and Detroit. Aaron, out of those 4 teams, who do you think needs the win the most for playoff seeding when it comes down to it?
As crazy as this may sound, I'm going to go with the Eagles. Listen, that game last night, the Eagles have become the San Antonio Spurs of the early 2000s. They are the worst football team to watch. It is so boring. It is nothing exciting offensively. They don't do anything spectacular. They are the San Antonio Spurs of 2000, but they always find a way to win. Their defense is playing great. Their offense is playing like crap. When their offense is playing great, their defense is playing like crap, but they always find a way to win football games. And that's a testament to their ability to win and them being comfortable in any type of game, any situation. But there's something about that team that is just ugly to watch. It is not exciting. They don't do anything great. And this is not last year's Philadelphia Eagles team. And I think they're in a situation where they're behind the Detroit Lions, the Rams, and the Seattle Seahawks to me. And I think they need to go out and prove why they don't belong behind them. It's just something that's not clicking with them. So I don't know if it's the A.J. Brown thing. It just doesn't look right. Even though they keep winning, it just doesn't look right. It doesn't feel right. Something stinks. And it reminds me of a couple of years ago when they were winning games, but it didn't look good. And then down the stretch, it really hit them.
So I kind of know the answer to this, and I'm still gonna ask it anyways. What is the Eagles won the Super Bowl? They are the reigning, defending Super Bowl champions.
Yeah.
What's the difference between them and when we see like a team like the Chiefs go out
Stability.
there and have
easy question? Stability, leadership.
Where's that from, though? Because I mean, Nick Sirianni's been doing this.
It starts at head coach. No, you can't say Nick Sirianni's been doing it since. Where do you ever hear the turmoil in Kansas City?
Fair.
Every week it's something different in Philly. Every week it's something different in Philly. A.J. Brown's mad. Nick Sirianni's yelling at fans in the stand. It's always, since he's been there, it's been something. Now, I'm not saying they haven't won in spite of that. I'm saying that there is a level of insecurity or a level of not being stabilized as an organization that they don't have that a team like Kansas City does have. And it doesn't mean that Kansas City is a better football team. It doesn't mean that they can't be beat by the Philadelphia Eagles. It just means there's a level of it's like just a bomb waiting to explode. That's what I feel like. I think there's so much built up animosity in Philadelphia's building that eventually, whether that's when A.J. Brown finally leaves in the offseason or whatever, it just blows up. And you don't want that in your building when you have other things to focus on, especially when you're trying to go into the postseason.
But didn't they do that last year? Didn't we have this A.J. Brown saga last year? Didn't it start last year with like the book and reading it on the sideline and stuff, and then they ended up winning the Super Bowl? Like, I feel like this is obviously I don't
but
think
last year, remember, 2,000-yard Saquon Barkley too. This year, there's no 2,000-yard Saquon Barkley. Like, they're not running the ball well. They're not throwing it well. They're not like what? Let me ask you this. Let me rephrase your question into a question. What are the Philadelphia Eagles doing exceptionally well other than finding a way to win the game?
That's it. That's all I have. I have but that's the thing. I think that, but my thing is, and you, I see your point when you bring up stability with like Andy Reid versus Nick Sirianni and the culture and the problems that are happening in Philadelphia. But at the end of the day, like on paper, you look at the Chiefs of last year and we were okay. And I know the Lord and Savior Patrick Mahomes, we were okay giving the pass to the Chiefs. We're always okay giving the pass to the Chiefs when it comes to their struggles, their early season struggles. I mean, shit, look at right now. They're not even in a playoff spot, and they still have the best odds to win the Super Bowl. Like, they're not even in a playoff spot, and we're still
There's a reason why.
I know that. I know that reason. I get it. Like, but the Eagles, they've been in the Super Bowl. They won the Super Bowl last year. They've been in the NFC Championship. They've been there. They've done that. It's just kind of crazy to me to think like, okay, we're not giving the Eagles the pass. We give the Chiefs the pass. And Jermaine in the chat brings up the fact that the offensive coordinator is a big disappointment for the Eagles. That's a big loss. The loss of Kellen Moore is huge. But to his point, they did beat the Rams. Why are they behind the Rams in your hierarchy of the NFC?
The same reason why the Buffalo Bills.
Man, this time you're actually frozen. Hold on.
I know. I'm back. The Eagles of last year are a better football team than the Eagles of this year. I'm not saying that the Eagles can't go on a run here. You asked me, the original question was, who needs this more? I think the Eagles need it more to find an identity of their football team. We knew what they were last year. They were going to lean on Saquon Barkley. He was going to have explosive runs, and they were going to lean, and that was their identity. This year, he hasn't been the same. Their offensive coordinator, I don't know what he's doing. They're like, some games they want to just drop back and they want to throw it all over the field. And then other games they want to look like they're scared to even throw the ball. I don't think they have an identity this year. And when you don't have an identity as a football team, or specifically as an offense, you put yourself in situations where there's more flux. And what happens is you might get away with these wins against the Rams, against the Packers in the regular season. But come the postseason, when it's really pressure is on you and you really have to go lean on something, can you do it? And we have not seen Philly be able to lean on anything yet this year. They've been able to find ways to win, and I give them all the credit in the world for that. Also, and we've discussed this. I don't care how many Super Bowls Philadelphia wins. Nick Sirianni is not a good head coach to me. And I've said this a number of times. I feel like he is a little kid playing fantasy football or playing coach. He acts childish. He's an immature man to me, and I don't like 4th and 6 yesterday. What? I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're an analytics guy or not. What was the purpose of going for it on 4th and 6 and throwing a ball to AJ Brown deep? To make him happy? Because that's what I felt like it was for. Like, oh, let's give AJ a chance before we get out of here, to just keep him for another week on without him exploding. When ideally, you punt that ball. I don't care if it goes through the back of the end zone. You take off 8 more seconds. Now you have 18 seconds left, and Green Bay has no timeouts to get into field goal range. Like, the things he does as a head coach, I perplex me. He's immature. He's childish. And I think that is a lot of where that discomfort comes from, maybe from on my end, and not really trusting them. I trust Jalen Hurts. I think he's a winner. I love Saquon. AJ Brown and Devontae Smith, one of the best 1-2 punch combinations you can have. One of the best O-lines, an amazing defensive line that just added Jalen Phillips. Quinyon Mitchell's one of the best corners in football. Why does it look like that on the football field every week? They also beat the Rams. They also lost to the Giants. Like, let's not forget the games that they didn't play well, right? Like we can bring up the games they beat the Rams and stuff. Every team has their good and bad days. Philadelphia has been consistently ugly to watch. And I'm strictly speaking on what it's been to look like, or what it's looked like to me watching them. I still think they're one of the best teams in the NFC. And I still think that in the postseason, they're not some easy out. I just want to see them go beat a team like Detroit in a situation and have a convincing win. Show me why you're still that team. Kansas City did it this year. Kansas City went and dominated Detroit, and that showed me, like, that's the Kansas City team that I know I can get in the playoffs. I haven't seen one Philly game like that. Not one. And I know they've had good games, but where I'm like, that's the Philly team that I'm scared of.
33-26 against the Rams at home. And they needed a comeback in that one. They scored 12 points in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, they were down. They were getting blown out at one point in time.
And really, it came down to a lot of, I wouldn't say luck plays, because it takes skill and talent to do all these plays. But I mean, you had the 2 blocked field goals. There was a lot of things that happened in that Rams game to say, okay, maybe I'm not fully sold on the Philadelphia Eagles yet. Again, two massive matchups this week. Eagles and Lions, Seahawks, Rams. Next week we'll have we'll be back again to break it all down and react and see who actually proved their worth and prove their spot in the NFC race. Let's do one more topic here. Let's go back to the AFC. Let's go back to kind of a little bit of what we were talking about earlier. The favorite in the AFC, or favorite in the MVP race, I should say, Drake May, has been lighting it up for the New England Patriots. We talked earlier about how Matthew Stafford has Puka and Devontae Adams, and Jonathan Taylor's on the Colts, who has Daniel Jones with him. Drake May is throwing to Stephon Diggs, who we felt like no one wanted, Kyle Williams, who's a rookie. He's got who's the other?
Kayshon
Boutte, who has been revelation this year. He was hurt last week, but I mean, he got Kyle Williams involved. Trevion Henderson's doing it in the backfield, another rookie. Like, Drake May is doing it. He doesn't have the Puka. He doesn't have the Devontae. He doesn't have Daniel Jones. Is Drake May the real deal?
Oh, that's not where I thought you were going.
It's where I'm going. I know where you're going. You're not going anywhere because
with
your
that
connection.
question. Real deal, absolutely.
Oh, man. Got to get that walled internet. My guy is down bad. My guy is down real bad. I'm sorry, guys. He was about to come. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You know the show is back when the internet issues start to happen. My guy is down. This time he's actually down. Oh, wait. Loading screen's popping up. He's super frozen. Oh, and now it's just me. Oh, wait. Nope. Still me. He's just popping in and out. Oh man, I don't have the answer here. I don't have the answer. I do think Drake May, though, is showing that he is the real deal, and I think it's when it comes to the New England Patriots as a whole, Mike Vrabel is one of the best coaches in the league, and I will stand on business on that. I think he has come in and he is just, like we had discussed earlier, he has come in and let Drake May be Drake May. He's let this offense be what it needs to be, and not anything more than that. He's not making bad decisions, and when he makes bad decisions, he doesn't bury him for it. He is letting Drake May cook, make big plays, throw the ball down the field. I mean, they are letting it air out when it comes to these receivers. They got a lot of speed with Ramondre Stevenson, or with Kayshon Boutte and Kyle Williams. They're finding ways to win, and Drake May is absolutely behind that. 8-2 record, best 10 game start since 2019. That was Tom Brady's last season in the league. Not everyone wants to compare this to a Tom Brady-led Patriots team. Let's stop doing that. This is Drake May's team. Mike Vrabel's at the helm. They're playing simple football. They're winning the game. Oh, Aaron just completely left. All right, so we'll see where this goes. I do think Drake May is the real deal, though. I think he is a special talent. And the more this offense continues to find that rhythm, they're going to be better. I think they win the AFC East. Maybe Aaron has some thoughts on that, but I think the Patriots win the AFC East. I don't think the Bills can claw their way back into it. Drake May is that dude. Man, he is down bad. He's gone. Aaron's just gone. I don't know if he knows how to get back in. We'll figure it out. What up, everyone in the chat? It's been a while. It's been a minute. How we doing? How we feeling? How we vibing? I will take this time though. Let me do the shameless plug here. Since we are back, please follow us at all of our social media accounts at Sac City Pop on Facebook. Oh, that Twitter logo is old nowadays. You can see how long it's been since we have been back. Facebook, X, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. Do we call it X? Is that a thing now? Okay, so Facebook, X, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. Like and subscribe, share. Aaron says his whole router just shut off, so we're gonna see if he comes back. But again, please like, subscribe, share. Kenny Pickett is not on the Steelers. I don't even know, is that Deuce Vaughn that's still Add to stage. Is that Deuce Vaughn back down there that I added? I don't even know why we did Deuce Vaughn, baby Deuce Vaughn in there. But please like, share, subscribe to the pod. It will do us wonders. We're back. We're officially back, and we're excited to be here with everybody. Let's just do this. Let's see if Aaron's back. Aaron, you back?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. You're a black screen, but I can hear you. There it is.
My whole router just shut off.
Right.
Right.
That's incredible.
We're back. I don't know. Maybe I've never tried to stream with this new internet in Albany, so I might have to call them and get some more bandwidth.
Hey, gotta load up. Tell Watt to get our boys set up.
It's weird because it wasn't just my connection. It was literally the router shut off, and then it just came back on. So I don't know.
You missed. I had a shameless plug. I was able to plug the show while you were gone. I gave my thoughts on Drake May. I showed this graphic and made the joke about how look at the Twitter logo there. Just not a thing anymore. That's how long we've been out of the game when our promo is still the Twitter logo. So
it's been out of the game as long as Kenny Pickett's been out of the game. So.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so let's get back into it. Let's get back into Drake May. My question to you: where they're at right now? He's got 5 straight games with 2+ touchdowns. He has been balling out for the Patriots. Is Drake May the real deal?
Yeah, you talk about Drake May. It's not the route I thought you were going. I do think Drake May is the real deal. I like him as a quarterback. I think the Patriots got their guy. No doubt about that. The way he's been playing, his confidence, just he exudes like what a franchise quarterback is in the NFL. We've seen it before. I think he has that. He doesn't have the greatest weapons. I would argue that the Stephon Diggs dig that you kind of took when nobody wanted him. I don't know if that's really the case. Stephon Diggs.
What do you mean no one wanted him? What do you mean?
You said that nobody wanted him. He got hurt last year, tore his ACL, and he was already on an expiring contract. So to say nobody wanted him, I think that's a bit of a stretch. It's not like they signed him to some 1-year minimum contract. Like they signed him to a multiple year deal. To say nobody wanted him, I think that's a stretch. It's all right.
Maybe it's a stretch, but he's on the back nine. Okay, he's on the back nine, and you know what happens when players are starting on the back nine. It's not people are not crazy about them, and especially at a wide receiver.
But yeah, I mean, I would I'm not saying he's not on this back nine. Obviously, he's 32 years old. He's going to be a guy that comes in as a veteran receiver, but to say nobody wanted him really struck a nerve because I don't think that's the case. I think Stephon Diggs was valued out on the market, and I think there was a market for him. And the Patriots did what they needed to do to get a veteran receiver in that group of young guys that were there. So Drake May, I agree with you. I'm fine with him being in the MVP conversations right now. Do I think he's there at the end of the season? I do not, but that's the part I thought you were going to. And it's about the Patriots themselves and how real are the Patriots. And I just have a lot of pause. Let's just slow down on the Patriots talk.
Okay, hold on here then. Hold on here, because while you were gone, I said the Patriots win this division.
So let's slow down on the Patriots talk. I'm not winning the division. I don't think Buffalo's that good either. I'm not gonna debate you on whether they're gonna win the division or not. But if you look at who the Patriots have beat, they have 2 good wins on their schedule. It's the Buffalo win at Buffalo, and it's at Tampa. Those are 2 excellent wins. But they ain't played nobody else. It's not like they're running through a gauntlet of a schedule in the AFC. I mean, they got wins against the Vegas Raiders. Oh man, that's a juggernaut. They got Miami early in the season. We know how they were playing. New Orleans, Tennessee, Cleveland, like Carolina. I'll give them the Carolina game. Looks a lot better now because Carolina had been playing better, but they just lost to the Saints too. So again, I'm not saying they're not good. I'm not here to say they're not good. I'm here to say pump the brakes. We tend to do this a lot. We have one team. This is the Minnesota Vikings of last year. That's what I'm going to say right now. Very similar to the Minnesota Vikings did last year. They went 14-2. Minnesota, they go to the playoffs. They're probably going to get beat in the first round. Let me ask you this question right now. Buffalo and New England play in the playoffs. Who are you taking?
I mean, I'm taking Buffalo. I'm taking Josh Allen. That's the
But Baltimore and New England playing the playoffs. Who you taking?
Baltimore. Yeah,
Kansas City and New England playing the playoffs.
come
Who you
on.
taking?
Hey, move your head a little bit. Move your head a little bit. Move it to the side. Oh, you're frozen again. Yeah. There it is. The Lord and Savior.
So all I'm saying is let's pump the brakes. They're a good football team. They're playing really well. Mike Vrabel has come in and done what Mike Vrabel does, but I gotta see it for a season, and then I gotta see it in the postseason. So I'm just holding my praise for them into a little bit of a hey, good job, golf clap, good job, but let's keep it going. That's all I'm saying.
Is Drake May Ryan Tannehill of like 2020, 2021?
No. He's better. First of all, he's better than Ryan Tannehill. He was always better than Ryan Tannehill. People got to remember Ryan Tannehill. Don't get me wrong, Ryan Tannehill was decent, but Drake May, just as a quarterback, the prospect of quarterback play and what he's able to do was always projected to be better than what Ryan Tannehill was.
I mean, this team, when you look, you brought up their schedule earlier. When you look at their schedule, they are likely to finish with 11 or 12 wins this season. They're going to be 11-6 entering the playoffs, 12-5 entering the playoffs. And it just might not seem like the real deal when it comes to I think they win the division. They play the Bills and Patriots play one more time in Foxborough in mid-December. They have the Jets, the Bengals, the Giants, their next 3 games. I mean, that's 2 wins right there at least. We don't know how the Bengals are going to look. With Joe Flacco, it's unpredictable with Joe Flacco and that Bengals-led team. That could be a loss, though. If they lose that game, are you going to come back here and be like, yeah, this is why I said hold off on the Patriots?
No, I think every team goes through games where they lose games they shouldn't lose and win games they shouldn't win. Listen, the Patriots played well against Tampa. To me, that was a really that was the more statement win than anything on the year to me. But they probably should have got beat against the Falcons, and they didn't. Missed extra point could have been overtime. They let them go down. Whatever the case may be. But those are the ebbs and flows of the NFL. They didn't play that great against the Saints. They obviously lost to Pittsburgh.
So you're not putting that much. You're not putting that much
more losses on the schedule.
You're not putting that much stock into what they did with the Bucks this past week.
No, I thought this was their biggest win. That was, to me, the biggest statement win for them, because I think Tampa at home is probably one of the better. That's the best win they're going to have on their schedule. I really believe it. Even more so than in Buffalo, because in Buffalo is a division game. Those two teams are always familiar with each other. Division games can kind of go either way. I thought the Bucks game was really a statement win, and I want to see how they continue to build from that. Now, if they come back next week and lose, then it's going to be like, well, yeah, they're great last week. They're not so great this week. Like, they're kind of that team that's in the middle. Like, you just don't know what you're going to get from them week to week. But like I said, their schedule is in their favor. They played Baltimore. They played Buffalo. I would venture to guess it's going to be really hard for them to beat Buffalo twice in the season. I'm just going to say that.
Yeah.
So if they split and then they lose to Baltimore and they win out the rest of their games, because I think all the rest of the games are winnable, that would be what, 13-4?
Yeah. Yeah.
That might be good enough for number 1 seed in the AFC, which would be instrumental for them.
I don't think that would be good for them, to be honest.
It would be huge for them to not have to play in the first round.
No matter
what, have Baltimore. No,
I don't know.
Can't say that.
I am going to say that. I think as a team, like the young team that is the Patriots, I think it would be good to get, I don't want to call it a warm-up round, but a nice game. Although you look at the teams who are going to end up being in the wild card, that may be the problem, because the teams in the wild card would end up being like a Buffalo, a Kansas City, even the Chargers. Like, I don't know.
You don't want to play those teams in the first round. You don't want to play those teams in the first round. Think about it. You'd rather have them buy and then have them come to your place. Like, you don't want to play Buffalo, the Chargers, or Baltimore, or not Baltimore, Well, shoot, if Baltimore somehow doesn't win the division,
Oh my God.
or Kansas City come to your place, like you don't want to be that 3-4
no.
seed. That 2-3-4 seed, you don't want to be it. If you can get that 1 seed, you get that 1 seed, you get the bye, and only have to win 2 games, and you're in the Super Bowl.
Yeah. All right. You swayed me there. Everyone in the chat, let me know what you guys think about the New England Patriots. Are they the real deal? Should we be pumping the brakes on them, like Aaron said, or are they legit? Let us know in the chat. Let's get it flowing here. Let's start rounding the show out here, my friend. This has been great conversation. Let's do a little bit of a let's end the day on a little game here. And this can be quick. We got to wrap it up here. But I want to play a little pass or panic. This is panic. You're sounding the alarms. You're concerned about this team, or pass and giving them the pass on through, and everything will be okay. First team here, the Buffalo Bills. After their loss to the Miami Dolphins this past week, and they're not what they had the big win against the Chiefs, but outside of that, there's some concerns. They lost to the Falcons, lost to the Dolphins, lost in a big game against the Patriots. Pass or panic on the Buffalo Bills?
A lot of bad losses for Buffalo, but they are built to beat Kansas City. Because I don't care about these teams that have been in the playoffs every year until they get to the playoffs, I'm going to pass for now. I think they're okay. All they got to do is find their way into the postseason.
All right. So just because they're able to compete with the Kansas City, that gives you the comfort.
I just think they're built to beat Kansas City. I didn't say they're able to that's the reason they were able to beat the Chiefs and then they lose to some of these lesser teams.
Yeah.
They specifically built themselves to beat Kansas City in the playoffs. And so I just don't like judging teams that have been there every year for regular season stuff. They get bored. They don't bring their A game all the time. I got to give Buffalo a pass until I see that they're either mathematically out of it or until we see what they're capable of in the postseason.
JJ McCarthy, pass or panic on JJ McCarthy?
Oh, man, I was passed for a long time. I thought, but watching this last game, I'm going to panic. There were some throws that I thought he just missed. I feel like he's a little too erratic for me. I know he's a young guy, and I know this is really technically his rookie year. But if I'm Minnesota for passing up the opportunity to keep Sam Darnold and what my team did last year, I'm going to say panic. I think they need to be worried because if he's not the guy, where does that leave this team that was built to win now?
Where does that leave? Like, you think Justin Jefferson starts getting frustrated with things?
I think Jettis has done a good job of just embracing what he's had there. It's hard when you lose Kirk Cousins, and I know people aren't a fan of Kirk Cousins, but Kirk had a way to make sure that his guys got the ball, and obviously he just was a little out of his prime. You got to find a quarterback eventually, but I think for now I'm not really worried about Justin Jefferson being frustrated. I think he just recently signed. I think he's okay for the next couple of seasons.
JJ McCarthy has an interception in every single game he's played in his NFL career so far through 4 games. I would be concerned with JJ McCarthy. The Pittsburgh Steelers, pass or panic on the Pittsburgh Steelers? They're 5-4 now. They lost to the Chargers 25-10. That offense had struggled in their last game. They were able to beat the Colts, but then before that, lost to the Packers, lost to the Bengals, 3-4 in their last 4. 3-1, or 1 in math. Steelers are 1-3 in their last 4 games. Pass or panic on Pittsburgh?
Pass. I'm not panicked because what did we expect from the Pittsburgh Steelers? The teams that they're losing to, they lost to Green Bay, they lost to the Colts. They're better teams than the Pittsburgh Steelers. The beginning of the year, nobody had Pittsburgh winning the division as of week 9 or week 10, and they're ahead in their division. So I did that with the Steelers. I don't think anything's changed. I think Pittsburgh is a team that I know they started 4-1. They're probably going to be somewhere around 10-7, 9-8. They'll be fighting for a wild card spot because I do think Baltimore is going to win that division eventually. And there's a reason why Vegas still had them as the favorite. And I think Pittsburgh is what they are. They're a playoff team that's going to lose in the first round.
This is the backhanded panic. This is the backhand pass.
it's just a pass. Like, to me, Panic would be a team that, like, we expected something different from. Like, I expected the Steelers to win because they win every year. They haven't had a losing season since Mike Tomlin has been there. So, yeah, were they going to finish 9-8? They were always going to finish 9-8 or better. They were never going to make a deep playoff run. Aaron Rodgers or not. I actually think Aaron Rodgers has played fairly decent this year, except for this past game. And I think they are what they are. They're still a good team. They can still beat anybody on any given day because of the veterans that they have on that team. But at the end of the day, it's going to be hard for them to string 3-4 wins together as we get down the stretch and into the postseason.
They are who we thought they were, basically. They are.
But who said that? But who said it? Show us your knowledge. Who said it?
I can't remember his name.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, not going to come into my mind right now.
Dennis Green.
That's it.
Against the Arizona Cardinals.
Cardinals.
They are who we thought they were.
Yeah. You know, my brain.
Who we thought they are.
Yeah. Last team, pass or panic, the Green Bay Packers. They've lost 2 straight games at home, fewest points in a home game since 2018 in their last night's contest against the Philadelphia Eagles, only put up 10 points. Their offense has struggled the past few games, 7 points in this loss, 13 points in the loss at home against Carolina. Are we sounding the alarms for the Green Bay Packers?
This is the hardest one I think you've had so far. I'm going to pass. I'm not going to panic. But slight concern. And my slight concern comes from a place that's not good. It comes from Jordan Love. It really does. And I just don't love what I've seen from him in the games that they lose. It's like he's a different player. I don't know. It's like he turns into something that he's not. And it just concerns me a little bit. The Carolina game concerned me. He did not play that well. Then he backs it up against this Philly secondary that has not been that good. Like, I get Quinyon Mitchell's there, but who else? I mean, Cooper DeJean's okay, but they've been torching that other side, and they really couldn't get that going. I just didn't love it. I know what I'm going to get from Josh Jacobs, and that defense played lights out. I'm going to pass just because I think they're a good enough team to get to the playoffs, and if they're in the playoffs, they can make some noise. So I'm going to pass, but a couple more duds, and let's start that panic meter.
2 straight games from Jordan Love without a passing touchdown for the second time in his career. That offense has struggled, and it's funny because you look at that Carolina Panthers loss, losing 16-13 to the Panthers. It's like, wait, this is the Panthers we're talking about, but we're like, wait, the Panthers are they're kind of sneaking up into the conversation.
Well, then they lose to the Saints. Then they lost to the Saints. I think the big thing that showed me last night, and I don't know if this is a Matt LaFleur issue or a Jordan Love issue, but 4.9 yards per attempt, his lowest by far of the season. I mean, he was averaging upwards of 7 yards per attempt. It was down to 4.9. A lot of quick, short stuff. I just didn't love, like, it was like they changed their offense. But I felt that way about the entire game last night. I don't know about anybody else. But watching that Philadelphia Green Bay game, that was one of the worst football games that I watched this year. It was terrible.
Yeah. As watching it from start to finish, it was not.
Even though Joe Buck was like, "This is a great game. This is one of the best 0-0 games." I'm like, that game was terrible. I don't know. Yeah. It was terrible.
Not fun to watch. It was awful. I'm glad the Rangers were on so I could have watched that as well. But when you look at it, when you look at the Packers, something that I feel can come up, and this will be the last of it here. How much stock do you put in their first 2 games of the season? They beat the Lions 27-13, and they beat the Commanders 27-18. That's with Jaden Daniels at the start of the season. So that's their 2 real good wins. After that, their wins come against the Bengals with Joe Flacco, or that actually might have been with Jake Browning as their quarterback. Hold on, let me just triple check. Oh no, that was the Flacco. So they beat Joe Flacco and the Bengals. They beat the Cardinals. And then they beat the Steelers. Like, those are their 3 other wins aside from the 2 big ones at the start of the season. How much stock do you put into those first 2 wins against teams like the Commanders and the Lions?
I put as much stock as I put into the losses. I mean, you put in what you put in. They played those games. They were early in the season. It doesn't really change it now. We're in week 10 to me. Those were good wins at the time. We all thought the Lions were favorites, and the Lions were technically favorites coming into the year, and you whooped them. And then Washington was supposed to be a good team back in the NFC Championship game a year ago. I think those are good wins. They don't change much for me. I put as much stock into them as I put into the losses that they had against Carolina, though. Those things are ebbs and flows throughout an NFL season. They're going to happen. Show me a team that hasn't had a bad loss or some close win that they weren't supposed to have or supposed to blow them out, that's won a Super Bowl or made a run, and then I might change my tune. But I've never seen it. Even the best of the best teams that have gone – the Patriots went 16-0 in a season, and that last game of the year, they beat the Giants. Remember that? And then in the Super Bowl, the Giants beat them. So, like, it doesn't happen. This is the part of what the NFL is, and it's hard to win each and every week. So I kind of take each game for what it is and then go from there. I think the Packers are fine. But you don't want to have performances like they've had the past couple of weeks. You obviously want to get better.
So pass, but a slight panic on Green Bay. All right. We got to wrap things up here. I'm gonna do this. Let's get a little throwback feeling here. Let's bring it back. Let's have some fun here. I'm gonna pause this.
I'm just happy to be talking ball. We should have definitely used that. We should have used that for the pass or panic for the teams that are panic, like just like their heartbeat right there.
Oh my God, these drops are going to be so much fun.
What is going on?
This is our Fun and Games Friday, but not so Fun and Games Friday. I'm just playing around with the features that it's been a while since we've used this site, and we're back. Let's drive off.
Yeah, we just got to figure out our Facebook information so we can go live on Facebook.
Yeah, we're gonna have to figure out a lot of our information because I just realized the background here also has the Twitter bird logo down there, and that's how long we've been out of the game. But if you're still tuned in, please like, subscribe.
Hey, we're back one way or the other.
Yep, we are. We are at Sac City Pod on Facebook, X, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. Please like and subscribe there. Share. Tell your friends that the city is back. Aaron, I appreciate it as always, and we'll see you next time. How do I stop this?
Oh, peace out!
I don't even know how to stop this. We are definitely live. It still says we are live.
I gotta go live, but
no, dude, we're for sure still live. It still says check mark, but I'm trying to figure out how to get out of this.
Bro, what is this, amateur hour or what?
Do you see at the top right? It says go live. No.
Yes, at the top it says go live.
But like, look at the next. But look at the side. Look at next to it. It says YouTube. It has our YouTube logo. It says you are live. How do I go not live?
I see it. I see it. Hold on. Wait, what the?
This is crazy.
Yeah, do we have to leave?
I don't know. If we both leave the studio, does that end it?
I don't know. Let's leave and then come back and see what happens. Going on with it. Let's see.
The music's still playing too.
We're still live, bro. I don't know how. I don't know how to.
Oh wait, hold on. Let me just remove it. Maybe I'll remove it. Hold on. This may be a problem. No, I don't want to delete it from YouTube.
I know. That's a.
This is so good. 9 people are watching us mess around trying to figure out how to stop going live.
Well, it's not working.
Yeah, no shit.
Just how about